Hey guys, and welcome to my video review of The Marvels. I've just come back from seeing The Marvels myself at my local theatre, guys. I thought it was an okay movie. There's some good, some bad, kind of somewhere in the middle. I wasn't really that excited to see this movie, but obviously with the latest news coming out about all, the big cameos and all this kind of stuff that is setting up future events, I thought, I better get down to the theatre and see it, and I better use my unlimited theatre pass because I haven't used it for a while, to be honest. But anyway, guys, let's jump straight in. I'm going to refer to some notes on this. I don't usually do reviews, but I want to start doing them on the channel for you guys, so bear with me as I do my best to get this review out for you guys. So we're going to start off with the cast, guys. So for me, the cast work quite well together. I think they have great chemistry on screen together. The three lead cast members. They played off of each other really well. The chemistry was there, and they had a fun time on screen, and that kind of shows. But yeah. So Ivan Milani, who plays, I think that's how you say her name, who plays Miss Marvel. She stole the movie. She was just great. She was a fun character. She had witty comments, and you could tell she was having a great time making this movie. And yeah, she just stole the movie for me. She was, probably the most fun character in the movie. Another great feature to Miss Marvel that came along with this film, her family were heavily involved in some parts of the movie, and her parents were really, really funny with kind of one-liners and the comedic kind of value and timing. And yeah, just seeing that relationship between Miss Marvel and her family really kind of accentuated her character within the movie as well, guys. But then you've got Captain Marvel, who's basically Marvel's version of Superman. She can pretty much do anything. Her powers seem to be unlimited. She was okay. I don't really feel that connected to her as a Marvel character like we should do. When you go back to the earlier phases of the MCU and you felt really connected to those OG Avenger characters, that just never happened with that never happened with Captain Marvel for me. And I know a lot of you guys feel the same. When it comes to Monica Rambeau, she mostly gave exposition dumps throughout the movie, kind of explaining the plot, kind of dumbing it down for audiences. She would be like the scientific one of the group who would kind of just explain stuff. She was okay. Her powers seemed pretty cool. The whole power switching thing between the three characters as well. Yeah, it was kind of fun to a degree, but then it got to a point where they were just swapping out every 2 seconds. And it kind of got a bit annoying for me at one point. I was kind of like, okay, this gimmick's kind of done now. I've kind of seen it. I'm getting a bit fed up with it. Can we stop the whole switching thing? It's becoming a little bit kind of, a little bit annoying, I would say. But yeah, guys, so let's go on to the plot. Darwin basically saw Captain America when she was younger blow up the Supreme Intelligence, which was obviously on the Kree planet. And so the villain spends the the beginning of the movie searching for a MacGuffin, which is basically like a magical bracelet. And she uses it to bring resources back to her home planet. Her home planet is dying, and she needs resources to kind of fix her home planet. And she uses the magical bracelet to basically create portals across the galaxy to go to other planets, and she can steal resources from other planets to bring it back to her planets, like water and stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of what the movie's centered around. So she hops from portal to portal across the galaxy, stealing resources from other planets in order to help her dying home planet. It's okay plot point. It is what it is. It's nothing mega exciting. It's kind of okay. Hey guys, so there's this point where the three main heroes land on this planet, and the civilization on this planet, they communicate by singing to each other, which is really super strange. So we kind of get thrust into this almost Disney musical film, and it just completely took me out of the movie, guys. At one point, we're going through space and we're tracking down this villain. And the next minute, we're inside like High School Musical where everybody's singing and dancing, and I'm kind of just like, what has happened to Marvel that we ended up in a High School Musical movie? And I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. There's a subplot where Brie Larson, Captain America, is married to this prince because of diplomatic reasons. And it's just so bizarre, so weird, completely takes you out of the movie. But yeah, so we hop from planet to planet trying to find the villain. Obviously, this coincides with a final battle between, the three Marvel characters and, the main villain. We have this kind of end boss fight that we've seen hundreds of times throughout these Marvel movies. Nothing special happens, and it's kind of just paint by numbers, as I say, guys. It's okay. If you're looking to go to the theatre for an afternoon, you have nothing else to do, and you're just looking to be entertained by kind of just a generic kind of superhero movie with a not really very interesting script, then the Marvels might be for you. Or if you've got young kids who like this kind of stuff, who aren't looking for anything too deep in a comic book movie, then yeah, this would be a perfect movie, guys. But anyway, guys, so let's move from the plot onto the actual villain. She's a bit of a kind of twirl the mustache, villain. She, she does some exposition, like speeches, like typical villain speeches. Ha ha ha! I'm bad. This is what I'm gonna do. We need to, we need to rule the universe and all this, like just the typical, just cliche plot, paint by numbers kind of villain that we've seen 100 times over. She's so forgetful, guys. The actress herself didn't do a bad job in the role with what she was given. But, the costume was boring. The script wasn't good for the villain. And just, I don't know. This time next week, nobody's going to be talking about this villain. When we look back on Marvel in years to come, nobody is going to be talking about this villain. Forgetful, by tomorrow, you're going to forget about this villain already. So as one of the most forgetful, uninspired villains, the villain doesn't play any bigger role within the MCU. It's just a villain of the week, one and done, forgetful. She uses this magical hammer. Where have we seen that before? She uses the magical hammer. It's nothing exciting. The hammer itself doesn't even look interesting. The design is just like an old hammer, and it has a little bit of a purple glow. It doesn't even look interesting. The design's not good. And like I say, she just gives these kind of cliche bad guy speeches. Ha ha, we're bad. We need to rule the universe, blah, blah, blah. And all this kind of stuff. And just boring and forgetful. But anyway, guys, on to the VFX. So it has the typical Disney VFX that you expect. Even in a bad MCU movie or kind of a mediocre MCU movie, you can still expect some really nice visuals. And that's what you get, in this movie, guys. When they have panning vistas of kind of like a city or a town or something like that, you get beautiful visual effects. It's really well done. But then when you get the close-up shots of kind of like some of the characters flying around, like Captain Marvel, like flying around and it's kind of zoomed in. The green screen is really obvious. Some of the CGI looks kind of almost like PS3 graphics in some parts. So it's a little bit jarring sometimes to go from a beautiful kind of vista of a city to a close-up shot of a character flying, especially when they're flying and then they come into land. And the first few steps they take when they land is so CGI. And the hair just looks really bizarre as well. Obviously, CGI hair is really difficult to do. It's not a knock on the artist whatsoever. CGI is hard, I understand that. But so it's a bit hit and miss with the CGI. But that's the same in any movie, I guess, of this degree. But yeah, guys, so that's some of the plot. That's the cast, the villain, and the VFX. So, guys, I'm going to say from this point onwards, there are spoilers from this point onwards. If you don't want to know any spoilers about anything, then obviously go and watch the movie and then come back when you've seen it. So, guys, towards the end of the movie, after, the Marvels have defeated the main villain and blah, 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 and all that stuff's happened, the movie's happened, and we get to a closing sequence. It's not an after credit scene, although it feels like one. So, the closing scene, we have Miss Marvel. She's in a warehouse, and then Kate Bishop walks in. Obviously, Kate Bishop is the girl who was in the Hawkeye series. With Hawkeye, she's an archer herself. Kate Bishop is part of the Young Avengers in the comics. And we have Miss Marvel basically asking Kate Bishop to team up with her. So Miss Marvel is going around now recruiting the Young Avengers by the looks of it. And when she speaks to Kate Bishop, she says, "Oh, doesn't Ant-Man have a daughter, by the way?" So obviously she's going to recruit Ant-Man's daughter as well. So we're setting up the Young Avengers at the end of the movie by the look of it. And Miss Marvel looks like she's going to be the one to set up the Young Avengers, kind of like Nick Fury did with the Avengers Initiative at the end of the first Iron Man movie. Okay, guys, and then that kind of cuts to the end scene. And then we have the after credit scene, which was big talk in the trades recently. So the after credit scene, like I said, guys, if you don't want to know any spoilers, then this is your final warning. So at the end of the movie, Monica Rambeau is sucked in through a portal that they're trying to close the portal at the end of the movie that the villain has opened, this portal that goes to another dimension. It's a rip in space-time. So Monica Rambeau, using her light powers, tries to close the dimension portal to another dimension. And as she's trying to close it, she's on the other side of the portal in the other dimension. She closes it, but then she's stuck in the other dimension. Then it cuts to a scene where she wakes up in a medical facility. She wakes up in a bed, and as she looks up and she looks to the left, she sees her mum. But obviously her mum died in her universe. But in this alternate timeline, alternate universe or dimension or whatever you want to call it, her mum is Proton, the character, and she, she starts crying. She starts seeing her mum, saying that she misses her, and her mum looks at her and says, I don't know who you are, obviously because it's a different dimension, so she doesn't know. They don't know each other. And then it cuts to the right, and we see Beast from X-Men, the blue professor guy. And yeah, man, that caught me by surprise. That was so cool. And then we see a shot in the distance of the big silver door with the X on it. And, the Beast, he starts talking about, Monica. He's checking over Monica's medical records. And he says, oh, Charles Xavier wants a medical overview. So he dumps Charles Xavier's name as well. So that end credit scene, we officially have one of the X-Men in the after credit scene, which is really cool. That's the first X-Man that we've seen. Yeah, and that just caught me by surprise. Really cool. So we're setting up the Young Avengers with Miss Marvel recruiting Kate Bishop and talking about Ant-Man's daughter. That's the end scene. And then the after credits, Monica Rambeau, medical facility, seeing an alternate version of her mum, who's now Proton, and seeing Beast, who, the blue doctor professor guy from the X-Men. So guys, yeah, pretty cool stuff. I would say the end credit, the ending scene of the movie and the after credit scene is actually more exciting than what the movie was for me. So guys, yeah, the three cast members, main cast members, good chemistry. Ivan Milani, or whatever her name is, who plays Miss Marvel, steals the show. Forgetful villain, so-so VFX, MacGuffin used in a plot, kind of a bit boring, no one really cares. Villain's going to be everyone's going to forget about the villain by next week. But the after credit scene of the Young Avengers and Beast from X-Men makes it worth going to see, guys. But like I say, when we look back on this movie in years to come, it's going to be forgetful. Nobody's going to care. It's going to be near the bottom of the pile, kind of just generic. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it, guys. I know I'm not the best at doing reviews. I want to try start doing reviews on the channel for you guys. But if there's anything that I forgot or that you guys want to, talk about in response to this kind of small review that I'm doing, jump down in the comment section, guys. I'd love to know what you think about this movie if you've seen it. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and listen to my kind of miniature review. And yeah, guys, I really appreciate you being here. See you soon.